Assalamu alaikum. Hello students of class 9 business studies. I hope all of you are well. This is Mohammad Muhyiddin Sharkar, lecturer in chemistry, English medium morning shift, Rajaguttara Model College. I have made a lecture on subject science, chapter 2, chapter name water for life. Now I am going to start. So what is water and what is the importance of water in our life? So water is a substance composed of the chemical elements between hydrogen and oxygen and existing in gaseous, liquid and solid states. We know a matter has three states where is solid, liquid and gaseous. So the substance water exists in those three states. So in human body it contains 65 to 75% water. So what is the structure of water? So we know the molecular formula of water is H2O, where two hydrogen atom and one oxygen atom combined with each other and form water molecule, which molecular formula is H2O. And here I have given the structural formula of water, which is O bond H, O bond H, and its shape is the V shape. So what is the melting point and boiling point of water? So at first we have to know what is melting point and what is boiling point and what is freezing point. So first of all, what is melting point? So the temperature at which the solid substances turns into liquid is called melting point or melting temperature. Again, the temperature at which the solid substances turns into liquid is called melting point, and this phenomena is known as melting. So we know the particular temperature is called melting temperature or melting point, and this phenomena is known as melting. So the melting point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. For every metal or every substances has different melting points. So for water, its melting point is 0 degrees Celsius. If we consider another substances, those melting point will be different. So what is freezing point? The temperature at which the liquid substances turns into solid is called freezing point or freezing temperature. Again, the temperature at which the liquid substances turns into solid is called freezing point or freezing temperature. So the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. So we know the melting point of water is 0 degrees Celsius as well as the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. But melting point is if solid substances turns into liquid, that's called melting point, and if the liquid substances turns into solid, then it is called freezing point. But the definition of melting point and freezing point are different, but we can say the quantitatively melting point and freezing point both are same, and for water that will be 0 degrees Celsius. Now what is boiling point? So the temperature at which the liquid substances turns into vapor or gas is called boiling point or boiling temperature. Again, the temperature at which the liquid substances turns into vapor or gas is called boiling point, and this phenomena is known as boiling. So the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So we know the melting point is different for different substances. At the same time, the boiling point will be different for different substances. Now, what is the density of water? So at 4 degrees Celsius, the density of water will be highest, and it will be 1 gram per cc or 1000 kilogram per cubic meter. So in CGS unit its density is 1 gram per cc, and in SI unit its density will be 1000 kilogram per cubic meter. So what is the electrical conductivity of water? We know if electricity is passed through any substances, that is called electrical conductor. So if electricity can pass through water, then we can say water acts as a electrical conductor. But we know pure water does not conduct electricity. For conducting electricity, a molecule or substances must be ionized. But pure water does not conduct electricity because it contains a very few ions. That's why it does not conduct electricity. But in the presence of salt, it conducts electricity, because in the presence of salt the percentage of ions will be increased. That's why it conducts electricity. So we can say in the presence of salt, like edible salt, sodium chloride, water acts a electrical conductor. So what is a universal solvent? So if any substances can dissolve both organic substances and inorganic substances, then it is called universal solvent. We know a solvent is a substances that can dissolve another substance. It is called solvent. So we can say water is a universal solvent because water can dissolve both organic substances and inorganic substances. That's why it is called universal solvent. For organic substances, like if we consider alcohol, so water can dissolve alcohol. That's why it is called a solvent. On the other hand, if we consider an inorganic substances like edible salt, sodium chloride, water can dissolve sodium chloride. So that's why we can say water is a universal solvent. The amphoteric properties of water. So what is amphoteric compound? An amphoteric compound is one that can act both acidic and basic. On the other hand, we can say the substances or the compound that can act as acidic or basic and that can react with acid or with base is called amphoteric compound. So water can act as acid and base. That's why it is called amphoteric compound. So if you reacts water with acid like HCl, it will act as a base, and we know between acid and base reaction we will get a salt and water. But in this reaction, if we add a acid with water, water will act as a base, and if we add base with water, water will act as acid. Sources of water. The sources of water in the world is ocean. So ocean provides 95% water in the world, and 2% water is provided from ice, and the ice is produced from glaciers and snow that is stored, and we can say it can provide only 2% of water in the world. So what is the sources of fresh water in Bangladesh? There are different sources of fresh water in Bangladesh like river, canal, bill, pond and lake. So these are the sources of water in Bangladesh where we get fresh water from those sources. Among them, river is the main sources of fresh water in Bangladesh. Now what is flora? The plants of a particular region, habitat or geological period is called flora. So again, the plants of a particular region, habitat or geological period is flora. At the same time, what is fauna? So the plants of a particular region is called flora, and the animals of a particular region, habitat or geological period is called fauna. Again, the animals of a particular region, habitat or geological period is called fauna. So flora denotes the plants of a particular region and fauna denotes the animals of a particular region. So the importance of water for aquatic flora. So what is the main importance of water for aquatic flora? So the different types of aquatic plant like water hyacinth, water lily, algae, bindweed, oripana, water nut, etc. they grow in water. So this type of aquatic flora depends on water. But bindweed, which can grow both water and land. Most of the aquatic flora could not grow without water, or even if a few could grow, they would neither survive nor grow. So we can say without water, if any flora can grow, it can survive a short time for the lacking of water. So the aquatic flora produce oxygen by photosynthesis. So in a photosynthesis reaction, oxygen is produced, and we can also say the aquatic flora produce oxygen by this photosynthesis process, and it maintains the level of dissolved oxygen in water. Again, the aquatic flora produce oxygen by photosynthesis process, and it maintains the level of dissolved oxygen in water. So photosynthesis is the most important process for the oxygen production. Without photosynthesis, flora does not produce oxygen. On the other hand, they also work as food reserves for aquatic animals like fish. So we can say the food for the aquatic fauna, aquatic flora is the main sources of food for aquatic fauna. So they also work as food reserves for aquatic animals like fish. So if there was no aquatic flora, aquatic fauna could not survive. For the surviving of aquatic fauna, aquatic flora is needed, which would be disastrous for the environment. So we can say for the balancing of the environment between aquatic flora and aquatic fauna, aquatic flora is most important. So water is essential for reproduction and growth of the aquatic plants, which are very important for the ecological balance. So for the ecological balancing, reproduction and growth of aquatic plants is needed, and which depends on the water. So we can finally say water is essential for reproduction and growth of aquatic plants, which are very important for the ecological balance. That's all.